One of the things that you find today, particularly in light of what we've been through over the last 2 years, is when you think about employee engagement within an organization, people have been coming back, regardless of the size of the company and where it's located with, I don't feel valued. This sense of value has become a real issue within organizations.
Right.
And there's all kinds of reasons for that, and nobody's suggesting that that's legitimate or not legitimate. It is. People aren't feeling value today for a number of reasons. But things like crowdsourcing and the ability to participate in things that are typically outside of your normal workday, you can get away with less incentives if you allow for the system itself to pick up on that.
From a strategy perspective, we've got probably one of the larger social enterprise platforms that I've seen in the space out there today. We've got Facebook pages for not only our 9 brands, but we've got pages for all 1,000 plus properties, and it's all integrated into one social management platform. And we use it as, for lack of a better term, it's called the big ear, right? So we can hear a tremendous amount and see a tremendous amount of sentiment in what's going on in the space, not only what people are thinking about our brands and how they manage their relationships with our brands or how we manage that, but also, how their experiences are happening. And so when you create a platform of that magnitude that's global, you're able to quickly, obviously, listen. And similar to the descriptions of Time Warner's activities using the monitoring system to drive sentiment, we do very much the same thing. So we process, over 50,000 blogs, forums, and sites. We take the sentiment of what we see going on in a specific market, and we're able to take that data that we're capturing and take it right down to a property level and how they could change their operational behaviors to address what the consumers are saying.
Will the internal community police or manage itself?
I really like your point about Starbucks, and actually when we were talking about Starbucks earlier, I was thinking this, and I think that the point ultimately is that, when employees are themselves empowered to communicate externally, like it or not, right, and I don't see any way around that. Brand is culture, right? Brand becomes culture, right? Because regardless of what we in corporate say the brand is, and what advertising we put out there, and what messages we put out there, and everything else, right? Overwhelmingly, the way people experience the brand would be through the employee and the culture and the values that the employee has.
So what is some kind of the education that can be done to, get managers and management more in tune with, like, guys, see this change is coming, you might as well try to understand it and take those risks with it.
Gary, I'll direct that to you. I mean, do you sort of force that senior management into social so that they kind of get what's happening?
No, because you can't force it. I think what has to happen is that the organization has to see social media as being important. And I think even in a bigger scale than what you're just describing is, when you think about where we are as a society and how we've evolved, and you think about how technology has accelerated that and changed all these models, you have to ask yourself in a lot of organizations, what does it mean to be a manager today? Because a lot of what a manager was somebody who was basically a gatekeeper for information. And that's gone away. Information is ubiquitous.
Management might see social media or collaborative tools, or it depends where you are in the state. IBM's at a great state, and Edelman, I'm sure, has other clients. But it seems like a challenge to, it's more democracy. So more democracy might slow things down or create a rabble, or, and it's really, I think senior managers confuse collaboration with too much democracy in some way. And actually, it's not inviting everyone to have an opinion necessarily about everything, and therefore it's a mess.
Right.
And people self-govern, you can control, you can add tools. And I'm probably telling your story, but I think that might be one of the biggest breakthroughs, not only how you manage what it is to manage, but how to view it. It's not like chaos.
There's that.
It's actually, there might be some better management control and throughput here.
David, I'll start with you on our final point. Key takeaway on social media in the enterprise.
I accept the transparency, I think, is the biggest thing, and understand that stepping into social media, whether you're doing internally within a company or externally, requires honesty and transparency, and if you're not willing to engage in that, stay away from it. But I think that to me has been the biggest learning and the biggest hurdle that we have faced internally is, this is going to be a relationship, you're engaging in a dialogue, and you have to nurture it and be held accountable for it.
Treat it as a vibrant big piece. And decide if it's leading in some cases or is a support role. But you have to really have that discussion to understand what you're going to do with it.
Right, Gary?
I would just say it's an iterative experience. It's not a technology, it's not a platform, it's not any of those things. It's an iterative experience. It's something that you're going to jump in the pool and then you're going to basically learn to swim as you go.
Makes sense. Ben?
So I'm going to focus on trust, right? So I think entrust your employees, right, and build greater trust with them and with all constituents to the enterprise.
Makes sense. I am reminded of something that the IBM CFO said at the social media summit that we attended, that he viewed social media in the same way that they would view an emerging market, that there's both risk and opportunity in pursuing it, and you have to manage both ends of that. And I thought that was a great perspective to put on social media. I thought that was a terrific way to sum it up. Thank you all for your time and for your attention. A big round of applause for a terrific panel. David, thanks for joining us remotely. A pleasure. Thanks, everybody.